Just follow the science, they insist over and over. Okay, well, what if the head lemming declared himself the science?
As attacks on me, quite frankly, are attacks on science.
And led the rest of us off a cliff. Over and over, they, meaning the media, the Twitterati, the Democrats, implore you to follow the science. Yet a majority of these people don't even understand what science actually is. To them, it is blindly following what the media describe as science, who are given to them their marching orders from Dr. Fauci and the Democratic establishment. Sure, occasionally you have someone in the media who goes off course and asks the great Dr. Science a question that most of us have been wondering for over a year.
As we talk about vaccine mandates, I get calls all the time. People say, I've already had COVID, I'm protected, and now the study says maybe even more protected than the vaccine alone. Should they also get the vaccine? How do you make the case to them?
You know, that's a really good point, Sanjay. I don't have a really firm answer for you on that. That's something that we're going to have to discuss.
As if he hasn't given it a moment's consideration, not one thought. Hey, I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that for you. That's a really good question. Which is it? Is it stupid or is it liar? Because I think that we can all agree that it has to be one of those two options. But I'm going to give you the answer. Liar. The truth is that he knows that natural immunity goes against the narrative that everybody must get vaccinated. But you want to follow the science again. And yet, the man who has declared himself the science,
as attacks on me, quite frankly, are attacks on science.
Don't you dare attack him. Doesn't have an answer to this simple question. Hey God, when you created the universe, did you account for gravitational pull of planetary bodies? Should we account for that when trying to leave the Earth's surface? Oh, good question. I'm going to have to get back to you on that there, Ray. And you blindly want to follow because all those media outlets that have lied to you over and over again present it as a given truth, thus brainwashing the public via repetition. And if something that I've said here creates a doubt in your mind, that is good, because that is exactly what science is. Science is an evolution of a hypothesis. Somebody presents a hypothesis as to why something interacts with another object in a certain way, why chemical bonds form, and the hypothesis is attacked. People take a hammer to it, a sledgehammer. They chisel away, they refine it, they try to contradict it, they assail it. A good hypothesis is under constant scrutiny, under attack. It is waylaid. For example, Darwin's hypothesis of evolution has so much evidence, so much data corroborating it, not easily being nullified, withstanding the long test of time, that science puts a crown upon its head and ups it to a theory. Darwin's theory of evolution, not law of evolution, a theory. It is still under attack. It is just taken for granted as fact today, but not yet described as a law. But according to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and the Biden administration, they want you censored if you dare question the science, the quote-unquote settled science. They want to mandate vaccines by law. Don't question the hypothesis. And then you have Dr. Robert Malone, who at minimum had a big hand in helping to invent the mRNA vaccine, who is involved at the highest regulatory levels, who has been involved and given his opinion, asked his opinion on every single epidemic since AIDS in the 1980s, and he has been banned from social media, including most recently Twitter, because Dr. Robert Malone's statements have, in their minds, promoted vaccine hesitancy. Perhaps the Biden administration has asked, maybe on behalf of the illustrious company Pfizer, in what is a fascist unification of corporation and state, Twitter to censor the good doctor. And poof, he's gone. Follow the science, as if it's all settled, as if it's a scientific law, as if it's guaranteed. Follow the science, like Michiganders, protesting the loss of their businesses, the loss of their freedoms, who were deemed by the media to be terroristic super spreaders, as opposed to the Black Lives Matter rallies and riots that packed people in thousands deep, that were deemed to be good for public health and did not develop the same stigma in the media. That, my friends, is science. Like Dr. Fauci, who at the outset of the pandemic lied to us about the efficacy of masks, as if those little cloth masks even do any good today. But he lied, admittedly. Like the vaccine companies saying that there was almost no risk from the vaccines and that they would be in excess of 90% efficacious. That it's one and done. Or say from the start, you were wondering and you postulated that perhaps the Wuhan COVID virus spread from the lab in the city with the same name from one of the only laboratories in the world investigating COVID viruses, and you were deemed a crackpot, paranoid, a conspiracy theorist for stating so. And should you question any of these things, you were likely banned from social media, made out to be a pariah, attacked. And that's exactly what is happening to Dr. Robert Malone. But if Dr. Robert Malone, inventor of the mRNA technology, is not allowed to opine about the subject, who exactly is? I repeat, Dr. Malone, with his vast expertise in this very specific field, is censored and banned and prevented from presenting his opinion. Who in the world is allowed to opine about the subject? Perhaps it's only if they toe the narrative line. They say follow the science, but they do not allow the science to evolve. Is it possible that they are feeding you the paradigm that they want you to swallow? Perhaps it's because they truly believe it's what's best for you. Or perhaps it's because by following their edicts, they will reap more money and greater amounts of power and ultimate control. And they frame it as the science and silence you by imposing penalties for speaking out against the narrative. Is this perhaps why doctors are losing their medical licenses and being attacked by the establishment for speaking out? Because they have framed their desired outcome as science and scared you and other doctors against publicly doubting it. Again, if they are silencing Dr. Malone, who is in the top 5 people in the world for whose opinion on this subject that we should listen to, who exactly are they going to allow to speak or to question the science? No one. Peace and blessings. Thumb up the video, subscribe, hit the all notification bell. Have a fantastic day.